Though I have moved multiple times before, no move is ever quite the same. My parents were both born and raised by Hong Kong. The nature of Dad's work took him to Europe. Mum ended up joining him in Germany, where they got married. They then moved to Tokyo in the mid-90s, had me, and imagined staying. They had moved to a flat closer to a nursery school. They had imagined I would start there. We never did in the end. I grew up as a perpetual new kid, changed schools more than 6 times. There was always the need to reintroduce myself, explain how I got to where I was. People will always ask, but over time, I've learned to care less. Dad got a job that moved us to Gothenburg, Sweden. Mum tells me of my anger when we moved. As a mother, she felt guilty for having pulled me from a budding home. I suppose my anger was filled with grief, too young to have words for. The first Gothenburg flat we got put in was meant to be temporary, she would tell me. It wasn't supposed to carry us through that harsh, first winter. She told me later it had been hard to convince me of a warm Christmas. In Tokyo, Mum had me strapped to her chest, facing forward. Just the 2 of us. We set off for a new place every day to explore, finding empty playgrounds and narrow passageways between bustling crowds. I had no expectations. There was such joy in being out and about. I moved to London this April, but the process of getting here hasn't been easy. After finishing my master's, I returned home to Paris. I kept my suitcase open in the hall, anticipating a speedy return to the UK with a job. But that didn't happen. It's safe to say breaking into a rather closed industry as a foreigner made things more complicated. It felt like I always had 1 foot in and 1 foot out. Passing for a local, but mostly just passing through. It is a disorientating battle of proof. Proof that I am supposed to be here while trying to get somewhere else. It feels good to be here in London. It's nice moving to a city where so many others are also not local. London is a whirlwind, but somehow this very nature matches with something deep inside of me. I sometimes wonder if what I grew up with was practice or the other way around. Maybe London is the total chaos of the practice ground, and a disparate childhood was somehow a lesson in fine-tuning. Others might find that they've been practicing all their life for something bigger, but for me, it feels a little reversed somehow. I always knew I'd be moving again at some point. I don't know if and when. It's easy to laugh about it now, but I always think back to the times when entering a new school and needing to run back to find Mum. I grieved having to be among strangers again. When I departed Paris, I turned back to her this time too, bawling and wanting to hug her once more. Though I've been moving these past 2 years, everything still felt on pause. Movement is full of strange contradictions, don't you think? Hard to pinpoint and anticipate. I had to keep reminding myself to acknowledge movement even when it doesn't feel real, making note of tiny shifts and little lessons along the way. That's the thing, isn't it? Movement isn't always only forward-facing, but a visceral back and forth, shifting of feet. You should always start from the ground. My mother taught me that. When you come up close to a place, you nestle. Now, whether this is anything like settling, I don't know. It's very difficult to create a sense of home. Sometimes we forget that a home doesn't just come up from nowhere. Molding little portions of home through little happenings is possible. I take all of this with me to London. It feels good to land.